In November of 2023, the Swell pod took a 10-day journey across 5 states, traveling 3,580 miles with one challenge in mind.
And that challenge was to interview 100 pleasantly rebellious humans to uncover deep truths about what it takes to create something that has never existed before, challenge the status quo, maybe even change the world.
This is the Kiln Road Trip, created and produced by the Swell pod.
In partnership with Kiln, Moterra Camper Vans, and sponsored by Taurus.
I'm Spencer McKeown.
And I'm Josh Taylor, and together we're the co-hosts of the Swell pod and your guides on the Kiln Road Trip. Follow along on the journey.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, follow the Swell pod on social media, and subscribe to your YouTube channel at, you guessed it, the Swell pod.
This is interview 67 of the Kiln Road Trip, and today we're at Kiln Meridian in Idaho talking with Rachel Heileson. Rachel is the owner, licensed cosmetologist, and barber at Beck Salon. Located in the heart of Kiln Meridian, Beck Salon is a luxury micro salon owned and operated by dual licensed cosmetologist and barber Rachel Heileson. Interesting side note, along the journey of the Kiln Road Trip, we were tasked with completing various different challenges along the journey, one of which was to get our hair dyed. Spencer volunteered for this one, but luckily we met Rachel and she did an absolutely killer job, dyed Spencer's hair, gave him the whole treatment, and we thank her for that. So thank you for tuning in to today's episode. We hope you enjoy.
So I'm Rachel. I'm the owner of Beck Salon here at Kiln. I'm a licensed cosmetologist and barber.
Cool.
And I started my business as I jumped into Kiln. So before that, I was kind of in a booth rent situation where I was working at another salon for other people. I had a small structure of my own business, but it wasn't branded. It wasn't, a storefront for myself. And Kiln provided a space for me to be completely independent and do my own thing. So I have a broad range of clientele for men and women, and yeah.
That's amazing. And
Thank you.
I'd love to know, so my wife, ran a beauty supply store for a while.
Cool. Okay.
And, she also, when she was younger, worked at Ulta,
That's awesome. Yeah.
So she's big into this. And I also, I know somebody who created, I'm not sure if you're familiar with a place called Image Studios.
I have heard of it.
Yeah. And so I'd love to know your thoughts versus about the booth rental versus kind of what it's like to instead work out of Kiln and kind of the biggest differences that you see.
So, booth rental, I feel like I definitely got a little taste of what it was like to run a business. I dealt with all of the back end of like my color stocks and things like that. But having complete control has been honestly really liberating for me. I really loved that. I didn't like being kind of conformed to somebody else's idea of what a business should look like.
Yeah.
And here I can really have that full control and I can cater it towards my clientele. And so my I guess passion towards my career is creating an experience for my clients.
Love it.
And this creates more of that high-end luxury experience in a very convenient setting. So,
that's amazing, and it's right up our alley. I know Spencer perked up when you said
Yeah,
that.
you want to create an experience?
You could hear his
Are you
reaction
kidding me?
immediately.
I've got some childhood story about this, but yeah.
No, that's amazing, and so I'll just let you have. I'm sure you have a million thoughts. I am interested in. So yeah, like obviously jumping into Kiln, and we actually spoke with somebody who got their haircut here last week, but so. Being at Kiln elevates the experience.
Yeah.
And what else might you do here to elevate the experience of somebody who comes to see you?
Yeah.
So one of my big things is I like to be very in person, like personal with the clients. It's very common nowadays for people to be in and out of the chair super fast, to have a lot of assistants running at the same time. Because I have a space that's solely mine, I can build that connection. I have a very personal connection with a lot of my clients, and I love that. And I take the time to get to know them. I always block out just slightly more than I need to adapt for conversation. And I've had a lot happen in the last few years, just as anybody else has. And so being able to build that personal connection is huge. And then I also use very high-end products as well. So product is something that I'm super passionate on as well, because I am really a big ingredient snob. So the product lines I carry, their mission as a product line is sustainability and substance. And so I like using things that are good for you. They're good for the environment. They're going to help you in the long run versus just surface fix a problem. And so I think that definitely elevates the experience, is using things that are more luxurious and not something you can just find at like Walmart, for example.
Yeah.
So
I love that. That's cool. I
Thank you.
appreciate that. Spencer?
When did you I've got a lot of questions actually.
Okay, perfect.
And this was
Hit me.
again, I'll tell the audience, this was a last minute.
Yes, it was.
You just like maybe 30 minutes ago you were
Yes.
asked to be pulled in, and this is great. And maybe people think, well, yeah, what? So we're doing tech. We were interviewing tech people, or we were interviewing a musician or an artist. I mean, it's just great to just talk to you about this, and you have this same passion around I don't know, experience.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Well, tell me a little bit about what got you to hair.
Yes,
I'm going to
in
say hair. It
general.
doesn't sound right. Hair. Sorry, what do you call it?
So, I mean, hair is a good word. It really depends on who I'm talking to. I am a licensed cosmetologist and barber. So that means I can do everything.
Yeah.
So cosmetology is more just hair in general. I did learn, of course, facials and nails in school, but my focus is all hair.
Yeah.
So anything from color all the way to straight razor shaves, extensions. So Beck, the salon, actually stands for barbering, extensions, and color.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of encompasses everything.
And that's one of the brands that you.
Yeah. So that's the salon.
That's
name.
your.
Mhm.
That's right.
Yeah.
So tell me where did that start? That you wanted to go into that area, but and why? And then I want to know when the experience thing hit you. Oh, I want to create a better experience.
Yeah. So I've been doing hair for about 7 years now. And doing hair is something that has always kind of been my game plan. It was just a matter of when.
Yeah.
Throughout high school, I was into music. I was into English, like everything. If I could have gotten 8 degrees in the amount of time it took to get one, I probably would have. And then that kind of trickled off, and I realized that hair was something I was actually passionate in, and I wanted to make a career out of it. And from the beginning, I've always wanted to create some kind of experience for either the stylist or the client. For a long time, I wanted to eventually be someone that could educate and create a better world for the stylist. And now I think my focus is more towards the client, especially because we've had so many world events where that's kind of lacking and self-care is lacking. And so I want to be able to create a space that is providing that for people. And I actually, while I was in school, I was in an ATV accident and broke my back.
Oh, no way.
So I suffered a compression burst fracture to my T9 vertebrae.
Wow.
And my doctors told me that I would never do hair again. And
Really?
they were like, you probably never do hair again. Pick your plan B. And at that point, I didn't have a plan B. And so I was like, no, I don't have another option for this. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And so it took about a year for me to kind of rehab and get back into things. But to now be able to have my own business and to be doing this full time, something that I love and relatively pain-free, is huge for me. And so I think that elevates the experience too, is be able to say, like, I've struggled to be here, you know, kind of fought tooth and nail to give my clients the best experience possible. And
It's great. I mean, standing and like being on your feet all day, that's tough.
It's definitely a little rough sometimes. Massage therapists and chiropractors are my best friend.
Yeah, for sure.
But,
what was the accident? You mind if I ask?
Yeah, so it was just kind of a freak accident. We were in like a side-by-side, a razor, and just going off of jumps like normal. My cousin was in the passenger seat and I was sitting right behind her. She got out to film and was just like, all right, you know, let's go do this next run, get really fast. And so we went pretty high up in the air and just came straight down. And it wasn't like we rolled or anything, but my spine just couldn't handle it. And the pressure just popped.
Yikes.
So I was in the hospital for about a week, and then it took about 10 months of rehab before I was able to kind of go back to school and finish everything.
Wow.
But,
what oh man, I've got a few quick questions here, but why, so what got you through that year then? I mean, it was a low.
It was a definitely low.
You did think
Absolutely.
at some point you wouldn't be able to do
I
what
think
you
a
love.
part of me was definitely thought like this is going to be hard, and I didn't realize it was going to be as hard. But being told no kind of fueled the fire of like, it's going to be a hell yes then. You know, that's not something I wanted, was somebody to tell me that I couldn't do something because I was going to prove them wrong. And I had an experience with one of my mom's friends while I had just gotten out of the hospital, and this specific friend, she's dealt with a lot of health problems over the years, and she came to see me, and she walked up the stairs carrying a peach pie that she had made from scratch, and my mom and I sat there like, who are you right now? How are you walking up the stairs, let alone like baking us goods to, you know, bring us in this situation. And she said that what changed the most for her and what changed her health was her mindset.
Yeah.
And so she told me that she's like, if you let yourself think like, oh, woe is me, this is hard, I can't do this, then you're not going to do it. But if you sit there and you're like, eventually I'm going to get back to this, I have big goals, I'm going to stick to those goals, you're going to heal and you're going to do better, and you're going to do better than you thought possible. And I kind of stuck with that, and you know, with the help of modern medicine, of course, but our minds are very powerful, and it was a lot of mindset.
That's
truly.
great.
So.
That
Sounds
no
like-
to the hell yeah, that's pleasantly
That's-
rebellious.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't need to ask you what your pleasant, you know, what's your, what was it?
No, yeah.
What was your most pleasantly rebellious trait?
What is it that makes you pleasantly rebellious?
what is it that makes you pleasantly rebellious? Which is, I think you've just
I
answered
think
it.
that's it. Yeah, it's mindset. It truly is. I think our minds are very, very powerful, and I am just somebody that if I'm told no, I'm gonna say hell yes.
Yeah.
I like that because I couldn't find the words earlier for my. You asked me that question.
I did. Yeah.
I don't like people saying no
Yeah,
when there's no logic to it
absolutely.
or when it doesn't make
No, it
sense.
makes
It's like
sometimes.
what?
Yes, why? For what?
And so if it's important enough, which I have had to learn, that you don't challenge everything, but choose it carefully, and then go for it.
There's a difference though, like as opposed in her situation,
Yeah.
right? Somebody's telling her
Oh,
no,
it's true.
whereas you know, and in that situation, like hell no, yeah,
Yes,
I'm saying well,
exactly.
yeah, right? Like,
Yeah, that's
but,
true.
But
Good
you
point.
can say no to those things. So
Yeah.
it's just a difference.
So just going back to your experience, trying to improve the experiences, what type of challenges are you facing even now, if you can be vulnerable, with trying to get, you know, to running the business or trying to create the experience you want to? What's is holding you back currently?
So it's very different for me going from, like I said, the booth rent experience to this, because I feel like I have to work 10 times harder to create the same outcome that a lot of my peers do. So a lot of my friends in the industry, they're working at salons that are either well recognized or just have a lot of foot traffic coming in. And while I am in a convenient spot, being here in Kiln, where I do have eyes on me all the time, it's still, I have to market myself, and I have to really like put my best foot forward all the time and really be like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
You know, wave that flag of like, I know what I'm doing, I promise.
Yeah.
Just come in my chair and you'll
Right.
see. So it's been a really unique experience being in this spot, because I feel like I've had to work hard, but at the same time, it's just come a lot naturally to me as well. I think because I'm in a space where I have the flexibility of doing my own thing, but also it's a very positive, enlightening kind of environment. People see that and they gravitate towards that.
For sure.
And I was in salons before where I loved them. They were great experiences, but I wasn't like the best version of myself in those salons and in those spots. Just coming here, my clients that have been with me for years have said that I'm happier, they're happier. It's just a comfortable space to be in. So I don't know necessarily what's holding me back, but I think I don't know, I just have to work a little harder than I feel like the next person.
But being yourself, trying to get that out socially as well as physically, right? In this building.
Yeah.
So you have a social following?
Yes, I do have a bit of a social following. I'm trying. I'm getting there. But yes. Yeah, it's also one of those things where I've realized how big of a deal social media is. Yeah. And while I'm in the chair, I'm behind the chair all day, you know, why should I have to now post on social media? But it is very important, and I've seen that, and I enjoy that. This is an aesthetic place to be too. It helps with that, but
that's good. Well, we were in this office, of course, with Get Social. You probably know Kate.
Yes, I do. I love Kate. Yeah,
cut her hair and help you along the way on that social side, and even utilizing this podcast. That's great. Are there any other experiences that you're trying to create that you'd like to, like, out of the box kind of ideas? Anything that you are thinking about?
I mean, I always have ideas. I think eventually, like, partnerships with bigger brands or partnerships with just Kiln along the way, or, you know, that's always kind of in my mind on what I can do and how I can outreach to more people. It's always been a goal of mine to travel and educate eventually. And so that's something that I've wanted to create, I guess, a creative space for more than just me, you know, so.
I like that.
Yeah.
As a kid, I used to think my mum used to cut her hair pretty badly, actually.
Same.
That's a pretty like normal thing. Yeah.
And then I learned to cut hair by trial and error. Actually, we once did put a bowl on top of
a real bowl cut.
Yeah, like Chris Dryden, if he's listening. And literally, we used the wrong blade. And like, there was no blade, in fact. And so, like, he really did have the worst haircut in the world. And his parents were quite conservative. They didn't go down well. But since then, I've cut hundreds of haircuts, including my own.
Yeah.
That's where we've come to. I've got a challenge for you in a minute.
Okay.
I've got an idea. Do you want to know what it is? Well, we'll he's saying no. We'll give it.
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Yeah, let's hear it.
Actually, let me just get this out of my head. So, when I was a kid, I wanted to create. This is how my mind works. I did not like the experience of getting my hair cut. They never knew. Yeah. They never remembered what I wanted. I don't want it squared off at the back and And then I had this crazy idea, and I was doing kind of sewing stuff and just being creative. But I wanted to like have my own kind of barber shop, whatever. And then I wanted also like a restaurant, like right next to it with a kind of similar branding.
Yeah.
Like where you'd chill out and then you'd come in and get your hair cut. I guess it's not too different from what's there now today in some little boutiques, but true. I just wanted that experience, and that's why it relates, relates to me. But cool. Well, on our trip, I know we need to ask our last two questions and wrap this up. But on our trip, people are giving us challenges. So we were obviously being given ourselves this challenge of 100 interviews.
Yes.
And then people have written stuff on the van with other challenges. We'd like you to add some other challenges on there as well. But yeah, I don't know. My son's challenged me to cut all my hair off.
Oh, you're going to cut your hair off?
Well, no, I'm not saying no. Other people have asked for dyeing a hair, and I don't think we're going to have time to do anything like that. And then other people have asked for a tattoo, which I'm not going to do.
Tattoo.
And we could interview a tattoo artist as you wanted to. And of course, it's just great to be interviewing you today. But yeah, I don't know, somewhere a combination in between. But what if,
you don't have time, what if to dye your hair?
What if, well, I don't think you've got time.
Probably not today.
She's very busy and very popular. But could we cut our hair off?
I'm not gonna.
Could we?
I was going to say, you seem to have a lot of hair under the hat.
Could we?
Cut off? Pretty bad.
Do we get a different haircut the way you? Thing is, Pleasantly Rebellious. I think we get stuck in what we used to wear. We wear what we always have worn. We do a hairstyle in the same way. Can we change it up, a different hairstyle, or even an initial? What if we put K in the back of our heads? K for Kiln, or Pleasantly Rebellious, Pleasantly.
Well, you made Denise laugh with that suggestion.
Something. I don't know. Okay, this is a crazy podcast now. I'm nearly going crazy. But what do you think? Is there a challenge you could do?
What would be a good recommendation?
Within your very busy schedule, what could we do that's different?
Man, I mean, we could put a K in the back of your head.
It's really an ugly haircut right now. I'm telling you, it does need actually a haircut, to be honest. I'd love to get
you do the hair one, and if we can make it to a tattoo artist, I'll do the tattoo one.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds like a good plan.
Would you do something
we could shake it up a little bit.
Where I don't know what you're gonna do?
Yeah.
And my wife will hate this. Well, no time concern for
we can do a haircut though.
Yeah, a little bit later on. Tell us a spot, and where you just decide. Oh no, I can't believe that, because I sometimes don't like people doing stuff. Well, no,
I got it.
It's always I go for big high, and now I'm telling you what my preferences are.
He likes the big high, so cut that part really short. Just that part.
I'm also receding.
We don't want him to hate me later.
I know. Realistically, I think what you should do, truly as a Pleasantly Rebellious, I think you should get a mohawk.
Oh.
Well, so that's everything.
A center strip.
Center.
Yeah, center strip.
Is that?
I have to look at your head, because I'm not going to give you something that's bad.
No, but you've got great judgment, so you can. Will you just do something?
Absolutely. And
make it look great. But I don't mind having my last story here, and I don't know why I'm telling so many stories right now. I did once have a zigzag in my hair at 15, and it was a student hairdresser who, they're just learning zigzag. It took about an hour and a half. I'm not sure why it took that long. It's a flat top.
Oh,
but then I also got SM in the back of my head once.
Mm-hmm. Are you trying to plant ideas?
Well, no, SM is. I'm just. I think our audience will be funny with this. SM is my initial, but I was working in a restaurant at the time. I was only 16. There's a girl there She was called Sonia Miller. And her
Oh, so you had-
boyfriend,
it's
who
like
was
you had her
rough as
initials. Oh my
anything, this
goodness.
guy, like, he thought,
That's
I was
funny.
like, you put her initials in your head. I'm like,
They're mine.
no, and it sounds like I'm ambitious, but I haven't really done anything with my hair since I was probably 20. Like,
Okay.
we're like different, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm okay for anything crazy. But anyway, that's
Really?
it. Yeah. Yeah, I am. My wife might not, but it'll grow back,
It grows.
right?
It grows.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
No, but
It's the last question.
Yeah, just the last question. You know, we really appreciate you jumping in.
Yeah, of
last minute to be
Yeah.
number 66. What do you think it takes? We ask this question to everybody.
Yeah.
Love your thoughts on it. What does it take to create something that has never existed before? Before we get into the rest of the episode, we want to thank the partners and sponsors who made the Kiln Road Trip possible. The Kiln Road Trip is brought to you by Kiln. Kiln is a boutique co-working and flex office community with 13 locations in 6 states across the West, dedicated to providing innovative workspaces that empower your team to thrive. Whether you're a solo visionary or an enterprise-level team of up to 100, Kiln transcends being merely a place to work. It's a hub for learning and connecting with like-minded professionals that will make you and your team love where you work.
And if you haven't stepped foot inside a kiln yet, you really need to. On this road trip, we visited every single location, and trust us when we say once you see these beautifully designed spaces, meet the talented team, and connect with fellow members, you won't want to work anywhere else.
Locations include Utah, Colorado, Idaho, Oregon, California, and Arizona. And they're growing too, with multiple locations set to open in 2024.
Yeah, so be sure to check out the kiln locations nearest you by booking a tour at kiln.com and answer Swell in the question, how did you hear about us? Once you complete the tour, you'll be entered into a competition where you could win a 1-year membership, their club membership at Kiln.
Yep, you heard that. That's kiln.com, book a tour, and be sure to mention Swell in the question, how did you hear about us?
The Kiln Road Trip is also brought to you by Moterra Campervans, a luxury campervan rental company for iconic road trips. Their top-of-the-line vans are available at 7 locations located near America's best outdoor adventure destinations. They have consistently earned the highest customer ratings in the industry, making Moterra Campervans your gateway to adventure without sacrificing on comfort or service.
That's true, and initially we wanted to take this journey in a 1960s VW bus, but thankfully we found Moterra instead. With 3 van options, we took the Pop Top Classic, which sleeps 4 and is best for those who want to maximize floor space and storage. This was critical for us because it needed to sleep the entire crew, we needed space to edit, and we were traveling with large amounts of equipment, luggage, and, other goodies that we picked up along the way.
And this van took us through all 3,580 miles of the trip. Super comfortable and sweet to drive.
And actually, Moterra offers fully planned itineraries if you'd rather leave the planning to someone else.
Visit gomoterra.com/swell. That's gomoterra.com/swell.
This episode is also brought to you by Taurus. Taurus is leading the charge in home energy storage. Taurus makes it easy to achieve energy independence and a greener tomorrow. The Taurus station provides everything you need to generate clean power, efficiently store electricity, and easily manage your energy use.
And installing a Taurus station offers plenty of benefits, including save money on your electricity bill,
Also, ensure energy security with backup power during outages.
reduce carbon emissions with renewables,
You can also automate EV charging and HVAC systems with 100% renewables.
and enjoy unrivaled system monitoring and support.
If you like the sound of those benefits, get a quote to build your Taurus station in less than 30 seconds. Super easy at taurus.co. That's TORUS.co. Now, let's get back to the episode. What do you think?
Man. I think, first off, I think it takes a creative person. Just the wiring in our brains is a little different than others, I'd say. And then I think it takes a lot of drive. And like I was talking about before, mindset, I think is going to be the biggest thing. You can't really do anything unless you put your mind to it, right?
Yeah,
Especially if it's something nobody's seen before, nobody's done before. You're not going to see a lot of, I guess, commonalities between what you're doing and what the next person has done or what the past person has done. So
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Kiln Road Trip. Be sure to follow along on the rest of the journey, and you can do that in 2 ways. 1, subscribe to the podcast, whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or maybe even watching on YouTube, and follow along on all of our social media platforms, whether you're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok, @the Swell Pod. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.